7:48 is the time. My name is Bob. It's a Bob Schmidt Show. Tina Severson joining me this morning. Hopefully that the cough drop will stop you from coughing.
So
Other than they're talking to Bill, and I thought maybe he thought I was coughing in the background. I'm like, wait a second here. I usually try to turn off my mic when I'm coughing, and you're
right
even off mic, and it's like, whatever. No, your mic was off at least, which is a good thing. So, talking about employment, we talked the last segment about things not to say and some of the questions that are out there and things like that. But I did want to talk about the fact that the unemployment rate in the state of Wisconsin is relatively low, and this area particularly is super low. How do you end up finding candidates for jobs when there's nobody there?
Right. That's a good question. For the most part, we do a lot of passive job seeking. So let's say that someone has a job. They really haven't looked around to see if there's any other opportunities. Or maybe they're just like super busy, quite frankly. And they're going in, they're punching out. They don't love their job. There's no real opportunity for progression. They're just kind of doing their thing. So those are the people that we reach out to and let them know about, hey, these are the other opportunities. And I can just take your information either over the phone, or you can send me in a resume and I can upload everything for you and basically tell you these are your options, just at least so you have your options.
Are there good jobs out there? Because I even hear of like some fast food places paying it like $15 an hour.
Oh, yeah, there are definitely good jobs out there. And yeah, with the talent crunch being what it is and how long it's been, there are employers their hand was kind of forced to increase the rate of pay, right? Which can be a good thing.
Well, it can be a good thing for the employee or the possible employee.
Yes, absolutely. You do just have to realize that sometimes that means you may not have as much opportunity to get progression as far as pay rate, because they're paying more off the bat, which is fine too. Some people are like, well, I'm going to work that hard now. It doesn't matter, and that's great. So yep, definitely a crunch out there right now. So yep, really looking for those passive job seekers. And there's a lot of people too that maybe just the shift that they're currently working doesn't work with their lifestyle. They're looking to make a change. Their current company can't offer a change because the crunch is so tight. They can't change people around in shifts like they used to be able to, or offer as much flexibility.
Now, with the jobs the way that they are, I mean, is there like, are hands ever forced? So let's say let's say I look for a job and XYZ offers me a job, and I go to my boss. I'm like, hey, XYZ offered me a job. Is there ways to negotiate yourself to stay where you are now and to kind of get what you have offered somewhere else?
Absolutely. You want to be a little cautious with that, because obviously some employers look at that as a loyalty thing, right? Like, well, you were looking, you could have come to me first and asked me for those things first.
Right.
So I guess I would give your current employer the benefit on the front end and just say, hey, this is the current situation I'm in. I need either this much more money based on the performance I've shown,
right?
Or I really need to have some more vacation. Is there any way that we can increase that? Or, just, that you've had that conversation on the front end. Then if you get that question, or, the opportunities and you get the offers, then, I mean, yes, it makes sense that you'd go back to your employer and tell them, unfortunately, I have to take this opportunity. You're not able to adjust. This person's able to offer. And be prepared to answer those questions, because they will come back to you and say, well, what about this? What about that? So make sure you really thought through like your culture and things that you can't put a dollar value on still have a value.
Well, sometimes the grass isn't greener on the other side. Because I think a lot of people jump ship thinking, oh, you know what? If I only got a job doing blah, and then pretty soon you get there and the job is blah.
Yeah, exactly. Well, do your research. I mean, really look on online. Glassdoor is a good it's a good website to look at as far as reviews in terms of people that have worked there, have supervised there. The companies definitely have a chance to, write some of their information too. Check out their website, check out their culture, ask people that work there themselves if you know anybody.
Roger posted on Facebook that he's always looking for the next job, for the next opportunity. Yeah. And he works for himself, but I mean, he's got, he's always looking to, he's a taxidermist, so he's always looking for that job. But I mean, there's a lot of people that are always constantly looking. I've got a buddy that lives in Eau Claire that he's a job hopper. He doesn't jump up. He jumps aside.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So it's kind of a job. Is that a skater? Is that?
To me, that just means he probably hasn't found something that's like got a passion for him yet, because that's the only thing that's going to tie you to a job like that. If you're just making lateral moves, that means that you're not really looking for any sort of progression or different money. You're just not happy with the duties you're doing, right? Or I guess the culture fit. So definitely then those are things he should be thinking about on the front end before he hops.
How do you find out the culture of a job? If I'm looking, because you said you're looking for that passive person, and that passive person may enjoy the culture where they are. That pays like the pay's not enough to make them go look, but they like where they're working because of the people, but the money sucks or whatever.
So definitely questions to ask to kind of figure that out. If definitely you can do some research online ahead of time. Obviously, you can look at Facebook. You can look at, as far as their page and what people have written for reviews. You can look at Glassdoor, like I mentioned. Indeed also has some company reviews. But then definitely, obviously, a staffing agency is going to have some good experience with a variety of companies in the area. So they're going to know, what they've done before as far as staffing and what they've heard for feedback. But then when you're in the interview and you're asking questions about that, ask things like, what is your current retention? How long do people stay here? What is the longevity of your staff right now? And in the position specifically that I'm going to, how long do people typically stay in this role? Because if people are just churning and burning, then there's something wrong.
Absolutely.
And what do you do for employee engagement? Do you guys do picnics? Do you do Christmas parties?
Is that important to people?
Oh gosh, some people that's more important than money.
Really?
And it's just because maybe they don't have a tie elsewhere, so they're looking for that tie. They're looking for that team, that collaboration, that feeling of like my sense of worth.
Right.
It's definitely important to say, hey, we appreciate you. You're here. You're doing your job.
Everybody will just.
Yeah.
Every day here.
A little bit of that. Yeah. If you make that face, especially, I'm sure they'll really take it seriously. The zoned out blah.
Good job.
Yeah.
My kids do this one.
Yeah.
The pointed thumbs up is what they're really good at. You mentioned Facebook. Check on Facebook. I've heard of people not getting jobs because of what they posted on Facebook, what they've had on their Twitter, what they've a picture of somebody may have tagged you passed out drunk in a field somewhere, or saying that my boss is an A
blah blah blah.
Yeah.
So technically, that's really not the way that you're supposed to do any sort of hiring or recruiting. That's technically that's illegal. Yeah. Let's put up our fingers right here. Yep. But I mean, in general, if you're looking for a professional position in particular,
right?
I mean, just don't. Anything that you're going to post up is public, right? So you just always have to think to yourself, is someone going to look at this someday and judge me for it?
Right.
If you don't care,
people
then you don't care.
Every day, though, on every single thing. I mean, you could be walking down the street and be like, look at that bald guy with the sausage in the back of his head. People judge you no matter what you're doing anyway. But with Facebook, it just makes it easier for people to find you or to search you out. That's probably why a lot of people use like their first name and their middle name rather than their first name and their last name.
That's a really good, and keep it separate. Like your LinkedIn page could be more of your professional page where you're listing your accomplishments, your volunteer work, the groups that you're involved in, what you've done for experience, and then maybe Facebook is more of your first name, middle initial party page, and that's fine.
But it's funny because in the job that I have, my Facebook is a lot of stuff that I do in life.
Yep.
I mean,
there's a lot of crossover.
My job is a lot of, reaching out to the people that I know locally to have listen to me, to say that, oh, Tina's going to be joining me today, or, and things like that, where I can't really separate mine from this to that, but a lot of people do.
Yep.
But if I were to go to another business or another industry, and people will say like, well, you've got 2,500 friends.
Yeah,
friends
I love these. All my friends.
All of my friends.
Who is that person again? Oh, yeah.
Or the weird thing is you're at a store and somebody's like, oh, we're friends on Facebook. Hi, I'm Bob.
Yeah.
And it's like, I have no idea
who you are. Yeah.
Or, so I mean, or somebody will say that, well, Johnny posted this and that's really a negative thing. It's like, I have no idea who Johnny is.
Right. Exactly. No, and as a lot of times too, like you said, almost guilt by like association. So you just have to determine like what kind of position you're going to be in, what role you're going to be in, and is it worth whatever you're putting up or posting. And untake yourself. Just untake yourself.
All right, my buddy Scott, he and I used to work together in radio years ago. He just said, thank God no Facebook back in the day.
Oh, that is a legitimate statement. That is a true legitimate statement. I mean, I'm even thinking of my high school days. Yes, thank God. There was no Facebook back in the day.
Scott Music Michael's there. He's working in Chico, California now.
Oh,
and he'll Facebook Live, and I'll comment on his stuff. But he never comments back to me while he's
It's about
live.
time he's commenting.
No, he'll comment on this, but he won't comment back live on air. But so he's
smart.
Yeah, we've had some days. We could have gotten in trouble back in the day. But to negotiate when it comes to finding the right pay for a job and things like that. If somebody offers you $50,000 and you want to make $60,000, I mean, how do you go about negotiating that other 10 grand?
Yeah, why do you want to make that other 10? Yeah, what value are you bringing to the organization? Yeah. What skill sets do you have? What have you done in the past that really warrants that extra 10 grand? the one thing that I would say I would think is a big turnoff to employers is when you just walk in and you're like, well, I just think I'm worth that.
Entitlement.
Okay. Well, why? You know, I mean, explain yourself. I mean,
They
you
just
know,
finished college and
Yeah.
I'm 22 years old.
Yeah.
And just think of the future I can bring to your
God,
company.
Yes. Well, please bring
Get
it
the hell
then.
out of here.
Yeah. What is what is that skill set? What have you done to demonstrate that you are successful in anything? And maybe it isn't work history. Maybe it is community involvement. Maybe it's a volunteer group you led. Maybe it's a home business that you had. Maybe it's a side gig, a babysitting job, whatever. But
Right.
at least be able to intelligently, you know, explain why you feel that you deserve that additional amount. And if you can't come up with something yourself, that's a good sign to maybe not ask for it.
Right.
So,
Well, I mean, I've actually negotiated vacation time because to
Oh,
me,
yeah.
vacation
That's more important.
To me, that's
Yep.
more important than the money.
Yep,
I mean,
absolutely.
Well, it's all important. I mean, it's,
right.
it's all
But
important.
it's a total package, right?
Yeah.
Look at the total package.
Yeah.
I mean, that's actually something good to think about when you're going in. Really look at the total value. Insurance is insane, right? It's expensive. It's what you pay for it, what it covers, you know, what actually is going to end up costing you for the year. Those are things you should really weigh out. And not everybody can be an insurance expert, but there's a couple of key questions you could just ask. You know, what's the deductible? Like, what am I going to have to pay every paycheck or every month to have the insurance? You know, that all, you know, that's a salary package, right? That's a compensation package. It's not just your wage. It's not just the vacation, but what are the benefits? I mean,
right. Yeah,
So-
gotta look at all that stuff. Tina Severson
Yep.
joining us this morning from ABR. Corey says that he's looked at people on Facebook prior to hiring them and not picked them before because of the face. So
Because
you
of the
really
Facebook
can't
page.
do that though.
I mean, technically, we're really not supposed to be doing that. No, because you're making judgments prior to knowing, and it's not something that could be. It's not like a background check. That's not a. You know what I mean? You have to be cautious of that. So.
Makes total sense. Tina
Yep.
Severson, ABR Employment Services Staffing Manager for Western Wisconsin, La Crosse, Sparta, and Winona. Quickly, a telephone number for you.
Oh, sure. You can reach me in La Crosse at 608-782-9700.
Very good, Tina Severson. Thanks a lot for joining us this morning.
Yeah.
More people. Brian's listening and on. Michael just had some stuff to say too, but I'm out of time. Maybe
Well,
we should do. Maybe we should do this again
maybe I should come back.
sooner than later. I'm
Okay,
thinking.
all
It's
right.
8 o'clock. Thanks a lot for joining us.